Joining us now for more analysis is Steve Yates, the CEO of DC International Advisory and a former Deputy National Security Advisor to Vice President Dick Cheney. Steve, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Was this the right move by President Trump?
I believe it was. In many ways, it was a little bit late in the sense that Iran has been pushing the envelope for decades. And multiple presidents of both parties have taken a softer approach in terms of how to respond. And so we've accultured the Iranian theocratic regime into thinking that it can get away with almost anything. And with the prospect of them maiming more American service members in Iraq, attacking U.S. sovereign territory and our embassy with impunity was just something that President Trump was not going to allow to go happen. And he's also struggling with how do you push back without engaging in another Iraq-style war. And so this strike hard and maximum pressure combo, I think, is the right approach.
Democrats have been critical of this decision. They say it could lead to war with Iran. Do you think this will lead to a wider conflict?
Well, that's largely in the hands of the Iranians. Notice what the president said in his tweet, and I think it was carefully chosen language, contrary to what some might believe, where he's saying, we want no more threats. How do you get them to stop making the threats? They're the ones that upped the ante. They're the ones that were destabilizing Iraq. They were organizing the protests against the embassy. And so he's saying, no threats, no attacks. But if you keep attacking us, I'm going to strike back hard. And that does not require authorization from Congress. You go back multiple decades that has not required notification to Congress for that kind of a tactical response.
We're also hearing from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who has said European countries haven't been as helpful as he wishes they could be. What do you think this means? What does he mean by that? And what impact will this decision have on U.S. relations with our allies?
Well, they've been a work in progress through the administration. In some ways, I think it's been an important adjustment because we've allowed them to have the benefit of economic engagement with our enemies while we foot the bill for their defense against those enemies. And so this is another bone of contention. The Iranians have engaged in a lot of business with European powers, especially Germany and some others, and they have undermined sanctions and they've pulled back on the pressures that are necessary to get Iran to take the right choices.
Iran has vowed to retaliate. It said it will no longer abide by those key remaining components on enrichment under the Iran nuclear deal. How significant is that, and what else do you expect to see from Iran?
If we believed that they were ever going to honor the agreement, one might lament that was going by the wayside. But there's evidence all along the way that they were never going to abide by its terms, and they're determined to acquire the weapon. They look at the Libya model that John Bolton talked about as the one thing never to do. Don't give up your ultimate deterrent. And so I don't think it was ever going to work. I think we're looking at occasional flare-ups from Iran in the region, but I think the right response by the president or any president is if someone's going to threaten us on our homeland or our sovereign territory abroad, then we have to have force to push them back from considering doing so.
Okay, Steve Yates, CEO of DC International Advisory and a former Deputy National Security Advisor to Vice President Dick Cheney. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.